Hello and welcome to week 3. We're now at the halfway mark for the semester. Overall, things looked good on your assignments for last week. One thing to note is on both the Chapter 3 assignment and the test, when I asked you to identify relevant ethical issues, you needed to name specific relevant issues in the terms you've learned, such as lack of informed consent or use of deception to get full credit. Now, looking ahead to next week, don't forget that we have our first live online lecture on Wednesday at 3. This will also be recorded and will be available via UJA. So in order to get it, you need to at least make sure that you log in and create a login, and you can actually get in order to view the lecture. To access the live lecture on Wednesday, you need to do the following. You log into UJA. The front page looks something like this, and up here in the top right-hand corner, you can click on the video classroom. And if you go to my calendar, you should see our session scheduled for Wednesday. When the time comes, you'll click on the session, and there should be an option to join the meeting. And so that's what you'll do at 3 on Wednesday. In preparation for this, you can receive extra credit by posting questions to the live Q&A discussion forum. These need to be posted by Wednesday at 8 a.m., and I will be sure to answer any of the questions that are listed here in our live session. During the lecture, you can also ask questions if you have additional ones, but you'll only get extra credit for posting here by Wednesday morning. Okay, other big things that are going on. By this week, you should have gotten, or at this point you should have gotten your final project article approved by me. And the next step, which is the final project summary, will be due this week. So remember that all of the details for your final project are laid out here up at the top of the course under Final Project Information and Files. And this document called Final Project Assignments has all of the details. And it looks like this. And for your summary, there's a series of questions that you need to answer. Note that these are listed in question format, but you need to include the answers in paragraph format. So don't just give me a list of bullet points answering each question. I'm expecting 2 to 3 pages, double spaced for this half of your paper. Also, make sure that it is in your own words, that you have not taken words directly from the article, and that you have not used direct quotes, even if you cite them appropriately. This needs to be in your own words. Remember what you learned in the plagiarism tutorial that you all did. Okay, so for next week, what you'll do with this is you'll read your study. The first thing you'll need to do is identify what constructs are being studied and how they're operationally defined. You'll need to identify the author's hypothesis or hypotheses, and then you'll need to describe the methods. Now, the first question, this week we're going to cover independent groups design, which is when different people get each level of the independent variable. Some of you have also selected studies that use repeated measures, which is when the same people do multiple levels of the independent variable, or complex designs when there's more than one independent variable. Before you go ahead and start writing your summary, you need to make sure that you've read Chapter 6 and ideally also done the assignments. If independent groups doesn't seem to fit your experiment, you need to look ahead to Chapters 7 and 8 and see if it might have used a different design. For the method section, you'll also need to identify the independent variable and the levels of those independent variables, the dependent variable, and how the groups were assigned. For the results, you may not understand every analysis they did, but you should be able to put into words what they found. In particular, I want you to describe how the independent variable affected the dependent variable. And then finally, in the discussion section, you should be able to summarize the importance of the study. Okay, getting back to the rest of the week, so that'll all be submitted under your final project summary. In terms of chapters, we'll cover survey research. Instead of an assignment to submit for this chapter, your assignment is actually a discussion forum post. Click on this. So basically what you're going to do is imagine that you are designing a survey to identify people who are addicted to Facebook. Your survey items need to be able to be answered on a scale of strongly disagree to strongly agree. So they should be statements, not questions. So something like, I use Facebook at least 5 times a day would be appropriate because you could answer it from strongly disagree to strongly agree. But how many times a day do you use Facebook would not work. Once you've posted your own items, you need to read through and provide constructive criticism in the comments section for at least 2 of your classmates. For each response, you need to identify either an issue or a place where the person has done a good job addressing each of these 5 points. So you need to make sure that each of your responses lists these 5 items, and you've either identified a weakness or a strength for each of those points. In addition, there's an extra credit opportunity for this chapter. Here, so the extra credit opportunity is to take and critique a quiz on BuzzFeed or a similar internet site and kind of write a 1-page response to that. And then finally, as usual, you'll have the test on that chapter. And then next we'll cover independent groups, which is where we're really going to come back to the concepts like independent and dependent variables that we covered in the first week of class. Be sure to review these if you don't understand them. You can also watch the experimental designs video that I sent out last week, which is a really good review if you're struggling. You have 2 assignments for this chapter. The first assignment is to read the Schellenberg article and then answer the corresponding questions. And then there's a separate independent groups assignment that gives you a little more practice because these are really important concepts. And then finally, you'll take the Chapter 6 test. So as always, let me know if you have questions, but I look forward to seeing you all at the live session on Wednesday at 3.